Next chapter we're studying is chapter 25 called Metabolism and Nutrition. You guys will take a quiz on this chapter posted on La Lima. First, we're going to study the metabolism and then nutrition. So, what is metabolism? Metabolism refers to all of the chemical reactions taking place in the body. So, every single chemical reaction is a part of metabolism. There are two types of reactions in a body. The catabolic or decomposition reactions, those are the reactions that break down complex molecules into simpler ones. Okay, so digestion, for example, is an example of catabolism or catabolic reactions in the body. These reactions take large molecules and break them down into smaller components. The second type reactions in a body are called anabolic or synthesis reactions in a body. These are the reactions that combine simple molecules to make complex molecules. So this is the processes in the body, the anabolic or anabolism processes in the body that make things or build things in a body. For example, they can use to build new cells, repair tissues, so synthesis. And all of the chemical reactions can fall into one of these two categories, either breaking down, decomposition, catabolic reactions, or building, synthesis, or anabolic reactions. So two types. Metabolism results from the balance of anabolic and catabolic reactions. There's also a molecule involved in metabolism called ATP. A stands for adenosine, T stands for tri, and P stands for phosphate. So adenosine triphosphate or ATP is the energy molecule that couples the two types of reactions. So simply put, catabolic reactions, they release energy and they also release building blocks that can be used to build things via anabolic processes. All of these processes happen in different places in the cell, and in order for the energy from catabolic reactions to reach the energy of the anabolic reaction, this is how it reaches, via ATP. So ATP can grab, in a way, the energy from catabolic reactions and deliver it to the anabolic reactions. So here's a summary of how it happens with the help of ATP. The catabolic reactions, they transfer energy from the complex molecules to ATP. So catabolic processes create energy. That energy is given to the ATP molecule, and ATP molecule can deliver it to the anabolic reactions where energy is needed to build something. Okay, so catabolic reaction energy is delivered by ATP to the anabolic reactions where that energy is needed. In addition to the energy, catabolic reactions release large amounts of heat. This heat is used to keep the body temperature consistent, and a lot of it is also lost to the outside. So we can feel the heat radiating from our bodies because we have metabolism. If metabolism speeds up, increases, there's going to be more heat released from our bodies. For example, during exercise, the metabolism increases because, so basically when metabolism increases, there's catabolic reactions happening faster and there's more of them. So if there's more catabolic reactions and they're happening faster, there's going to be more energy produced to be used by the body cells, for example, muscle cells, to move our bodies during an exercise. Proportionally, there's going to be a lot more heat released as well because there's more metabolism happening, there's higher metabolism. And the last thing that's going to be produced as a result of metabolism, catabolic reactions, is that there will be simple molecules such as glucose, amino acids, glycerol, and fatty acids released as well from the complex molecules. Okay, these molecules are called building blocks. or nutrients in the body. So these building blocks, these nutrients, can be used by the synthetic or anabolic processes to build more complex molecules, such as glycogen, proteins, and triglycerides that we need in the body for functioning of our body. For example, enzymes are a type of proteins, and these enzymes in a body, like for example digestive enzymes that work in our stomach and intestines to digest complex molecules, they actually need to be built from the simpler molecules called amino acids, and they can be used by our body to digest proteins, for example, that we eat in food. Okay. During the anabolic reactions, when the energy is used to move our body and to build more complex molecules, there's also going to be heat released, and that heat is also going to be used to keep the temperature of our body consistent, and also if there's too much heat, it's going to be released to the outside. You can feel the heat radiating from the body, especially more during high metabolism. So if this process happens faster and there's more reactions happening, there's going to be more heat released. As a result, our bodies will be heating up, they're going to feel warm, and we need to cool them off somehow. Either stop exercising for a minute, we can also jump into cold water, cold shower, we can stand in front of a fan or AC, drink some cold liquids, of course. So those are some of the things that we can do to help our body cool off. And the way our bodies help themselves to cool off is, of course, through sweating, through opening of the pores, letting that heat to leave our bodies quicker and more efficiently. And of course, that's going to keep our body's temperature in the homeostatic range, because if the body temperature does get too hot, that could actually interfere with some of the body's reactions, some of the body's metabolism, because the reactions that these molecules participate in, these molecules need to be kept at like a specific body temperature, otherwise they become inactive, like the proteins might become denatured, for example. Okay, so this is a summary of metabolism. There's going to be catabolic reactions, the reactions that decompose, break apart the complex molecules such as glycogen, proteins, and triglycerides that we either eat or we recycle in our bodies. These molecules will be broken down into simple molecules such as glucose, amino acids, glycerol, and fatty acids, and then used to build more complex molecules in our body through the anabolic reactions. The catabolic reactions will also release energy that will be trapped in the ATP and delivered into the anabolic process, because anabolic process does require energy to build something. So we need that energy from the breakdown to the building. And in addition, both of these processes, catabolic reactions or anabolic reactions, will release lots of heat as a result of these reactions, and that heat will be used to keep our body temperature at an optimal range, or it can be released to the outside to cool our bodies off through sweating and perspiration, so opening of the pores. We're not going to do chemistry in this part. We're just going to learn the theory of the metabolism and nutrition. So I'm going to skip a lot of these slides and jump into the carbohydrate metabolism. Okay, carbohydrates metabolism I'm going to cover in the next video. Here's a little summary of the carbohydrate metabolism. It is mostly the metabolism of the glucose. Glucose is actually a sugar. It is technically, it comes from the carbohydrates. It comes from either a starch or glycogen that we eat. And it is the body's most useful source of energy, ATP production. So to convert glucose into energy, so if that, don't want to go too far back. So to convert glucose into energy, the ATP is a really, really quick process. It's very efficient, and many body cells rely on this process. Primarily, especially our brain and muscle cells. They need glucose to function to get that energy. So we do need to eat carbs to get this healthy level of glucose into our bodies. We can't deprive our body entirely of carbs. Therefore, certain diets that eliminate too much carbs from the diet, like a keto diet, are not it's not a healthy way to lose weight. It is a efficient way to lose weight because, as I will explain later in the following videos, because it triggers our body into burning fat and protein, but it does burn our fat and it does burn our muscle, and it's not always entirely healthy unless a person is like overweight and needs to lose weight quickly for the health benefits of losing that weight. But generally speaking, it's better to have a balanced diet, as I will talk about it in nutritional part of this chapter, because our body cells depend heavily on the glucose, and going through these keto diets could actually result in a sluggishness and possibly even impaired memory and thinking, because the brain cells rely heavily on the glucose. So you cannot deprive your body of carbohydrates. You need to give your body healthy amount of carbohydrates. Avoid simple sugars because they take they don't take sufficient time to digest, and they don't necessarily contain glucose. They might contain another sugar called fructose that's not very healthy for our bodies. But glucose comes from starches mostly, such as rice, potatoes, sweet potatoes. Lots of fruits and vegetables have glucose. So there's plenty of healthy sources of carbohydrate that contains glucose. So next video, please watch how the carbohydrate metabolism happens in the body, and like what kinds of things glucose can do in our body. Here's a few of them. Energy production, that's the ATP production for the body's metabolic needs. It can also be used for amino acid synthesis. Amino acids are the constituents of proteins. Glucose can also be used for glycogen synthesis. Glycogen is a molecule that is a stored form of glucose. So if our bodies want to store the glucose for later use, they can convert it into glycogen quickly. That happens in the liver and the muscle. And also triglyceride synthesis. Triglyceride means fat synthesis. So glucose can be converted into fat, and we do need fat in our body. We do need a sufficient amount of fat in our body, and that's healthy. But too much glucose, not enough energy production from the glucose, so not enough body movements will result in too much glucose converted into fat, as I will discuss in the following videos.